Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is January 9th, 2026. I remembered that it was 2026. And today we have a lot of news, including that bad news in regards to the Camp Nou, because there are delays in the return to the Camp Nou. Also, Barcelona eyeing a move for a Premier League defender, someone you guys want to see at Barca. And finally, Barcelona considering, or actually not considering, already in talks to extend the contract of Andreas Christensen. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Boo. I'll begin this video with not the news, because we have to do the intro. Of course, this is the Barca News live podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where not only we discuss the news, but we're also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering your questions, and get the discussion going. So start filling up the chat section so I can read all of your comments and react to them. For those of you who will be watching when the podcast ends, we'll be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion and get straight into the news. And like I said during last podcast, if you click on the podcast after it's over and you don't see the chapters in the timeline, just make sure to check out the timestamps in the description, because lately, I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but when I do lives, it doesn't happen with the videos. When I do lives, it takes almost 24 hours for YouTube to process the video. And if YouTube doesn't process the video, the timestamps that I put in the description don't turn into chapters in a timeline. So if you don't see chapters, just check the description section. The timestamps will be there, and then you can just click on them and get straight into the news. Having said all that, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. If you're looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to Goal Kids, Setback, or Fanatics. If you're looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are down below in the description. You click on them, you get access to some pretty cool deals and offers that otherwise you wouldn't get access to without those links. And of course, you will be supporting this channel because I do get a small, tiny percentage if you end up buying something. All right, let's begin with the news. And as always, the first segment of news is comprised of multiple bits of news combined together for the sake of brevity, starting with our captain, one of our goalkeepers, Mark ter Stegen, because as you know, ter Stegen felt discomfort during training on Tuesday. After consulting with the doctors, they considered that the most prudent thing was for him to return to Barcelona to undergo medical exams, with Diego Cochen flying to Saudi Arabia to take his place. He underwent medical exams, and as I reported to you in yesterday's video, the medical exams came out clear. There's no injury, which of course is great news, because there's hopes that Mark ter Stegen could leave on loan during this winter transfer market. And well, now we have even more good news, because it really wasn't anything serious as far as the injury. He just had some swelling and pain in the knee. So out of precaution, they sent him back. But now ter Stegen has actually rejoined the team in Saudi Arabia, which again confirms those reports that there is nothing wrong with the German goalkeeper, which again is great news, because of course, with the transfer market will be an opportunity for him to leave and get minutes to try to establish himself as the starting goalkeeper for the 2026 World Cup. Now, of course, Girona are the club who are in advanced negotiations with Barcelona to sign ter Stegen on loan for the remainder of the season. They can only cover a fraction of his salary. They're saying only 1 million, which Barcelona are okay with. So now it's completely up to ter Stegen, with more and more reports coming out every day saying that ter Stegen is starting to lean more towards going to Girona, because even though it's not a top club, even though it's not a club that competes for competition, in fact, they're competing to stay out of relegation, it would make the most sense, because there, I'm sure ter Stegen would be the starting goalkeeper. He would get all the minutes that he needs to get back into shape, get back into competitive rhythm, and be able to play in the World Cup. And of course, he would be close to his children, because as you know, after he got divorced with his wife, he is sharing custody of his kids with her, and having to go to another country or even another city within Spain, that would put him far away from his kids, and I imagine that's not something he wants to do. Now, more news. Speaking of injuries, more news, because we have more good news. Speaking of injuries, and next good news is in regards to Lamine Yamal. As we know, Lamine Yamal suffered some discomfort. He didn't train with the team ahead of the semifinal of the Spanish Super Cup, and as a result, he did not start in the semifinal of the Spanish Super Cup against Athletic Club de Bilbao. He ended up coming off the bench, and well, the good news is that since then he has been completing all the trainings with the group, so he is 100% fit, and it's expected that he will start in the final against, of course, Real Madrid. We have another Clásico match this season. We have another Clásico match in the Spanish Super Cup final, where hopefully not only will beat them, but will humiliate them, because for some reason they thought when they beat us at the beginning of the Liga that somehow they were better. Bro, have you guys seen each other? Like, how you guys are playing? Anyways, so good news in regards to Lamine, who will be fully fit for the match against Real Madrid on Sunday. Now, more news, because yesterday I told you how Barcelona's newest signing, or about to be newest signing because it's not official yet, Joao Cancelo, was set to arrive in the city of Barcelona today in order to undergo medical exams at the Barcelona hospital. However, the club have decided to push that for tomorrow morning. The club have not given any reasons on why they decided to postpone the medical exams. I imagine because, the club right now, their full focus is on the final of the Spanish Super Cup. Maybe that's why. But Joao Cancelo is no longer in Saudi Arabia. In fact, he posted today on his Instagram account videos of him in Portugal. He's currently in Lisbon, Portugal, and the videos were of him training. He had, a training session because he, of course, is getting ready to come to Barcelona. So no medical exams today. Instead, it's been pushed for tomorrow, Saturday, January the 10th. Well, he will undergo the medical exams in the morning ahead, of course, his transfer to Barcelona on a 6-month loan from Al Hilal. Now, the last bit of news in this first segment of news is in regards to Rooney Bardaghji, because he is officially a first-team player. Now, when Barcelona signed Rooney Bardaghji, they registered him as a Barça Athletic player. That's why he was wearing the number 28, right? Yeah, number 28. And now Rooney Bardaghji has been officially registered as a first-team player, and he will now don the number 19 kit, which, of course, is Lamine Yamal's former number before he started wearing the 10. So congratulations to Rooney Bardaghji, who is officially a first-team player, and he will now have a new number, the number 19. Very, very well-deserved for the Swedish-Syrian youngster. All right, let's do the comment section, and then we are going to talk about the Camp Nou, because unfortunately, not everything is good news today. Not everything is good news. I'm sorry. I try to bring you guys good news, but I don't control the news. I just bring it to you, right? It's not my fault. Please don't shoot the messenger. And Barca Mama says, happy Friday mode. This working 5 days a week is for the birds. Glad I get to finish with Barca news. Amen. You know what? There's a lot of studies that they've done. There's a lot of Scandinavian countries that have moved to the 4-day work week. And Iceland has been doing that for the past 7 years. And every study that they've done about these countries have all come out positive about how workers are much happier. They're more content. They have more time to spend with their families. They're more well rested. They suffer less stress. They suffer less mental anxiety, depression, things like that. And here's the kicker. Productivity has actually gone up. So they're working less. They're happier. And the companies don't suffer because the productivity has actually gone up. So, but I just don't see that ever happening here in the U.S. But it would be lovely. I mean, we've all felt it whenever we've had a 3-day weekend because there was a holiday on a Friday or a holiday on a Monday. It's just 3 days makes a big, big difference versus 2. You're much more well rested. You're in a better mood. You're ready for the work week as opposed to just a weekend that goes by so quickly. But anyways, we need that 3rd-day weekend, not week. Stanley says, hey, Mo, happy new year. How about for some less important games? The idea of playing Yamal more at the 10 with Rooney on the right flank. I really like Rooney Bisca Barça. I mean, that's a great option. I think so. I think as we've seen time and time again, Rooney deserves to be getting more minutes. So, yeah, that's a good option where he could play on the right and Lamine can play as a number 10. And, of course, whenever Lamine is, needs rest, needs to be rotated, needs to be injured, Kid's injured, God forbid, then, of course, we can have Rooney. But, yes, Rooney does deserve more minutes. And Java the Hat says Rooney's too good to be left on the bench. Flick needs to incorporate him into the starting 11 by having Lamine play as a 10. He could want to leave in the summer if he doesn't get more playing time. He does deserve more minutes, but let's be real here. He's not going to be a starter because Can we start him some matches here and there? Yes, but he's not going to be a starter because Lamine Yamal is the right winger. Rooney is the right winger. I mean, when you come to the club and you play in a position where the best player in the world plays in, you know what's up, right? You know how many players Barcelona signed when Messi was here, knowing that they weren't going to bench him. So to expect him to be a starter, it's a little bit unrealistic. Edwin says, let's be real, nobody's moving Lamine out of his position, guys. Exactly. And Zaidi says, no Cancelo is coming Barca. No Cancelo is coming to Barca tomorrow. Yes, he is coming tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, that's when he's going to undergo the medical exams in the city of Barcelona. We'll see when Barcelona will announce it. I imagine they're going to want to wait after the final, so there's no distractions. Plus, I imagine Laporta's going to want to be there for the pictures and blah, blah, blah. And right now, Laporta's in Saudi Arabia. So I imagine he'll probably undergo his medical exams and maybe they'll announce it Monday. That way, doesn't distract away from the final. And that way, Laporta can be in the pictures since he's in Saudi, etc., etc. KG970 says, yo, bro, yo, air. Yes, I'm air. I don't think I understood your comment. Lewis says, had to come here when I saw rumors that Van de Ven wants Barca. What's up, Mo? I got you, bro. I got you. That's coming up. And Arnold says, hi, Mo. Happy Friday to you. I'm glad to catch up the first 2026 live podcast. It takes for the hard and amazing work you did last year. And I hope you got a more this year. Happy New Year to you, too. Thank you, my friend. Happy New Year to you, too. And to everyone here watching, whether it's live or later on when the podcast ends. Yes, I promise to continue to bring you content all this year. I'm hoping to do more. We'll see what time allows. Last year was incredibly busy for me. But one thing is not going to change. You're not going to get less. At least you're going to get the same amount. The goal is to get more detailed content, not just news. So we'll see what time allows me to do, but that's the goal. Solomon says, saying, hi, Mo from Gambia. I think we will really miss Gabi's drama in El Clasico on Sunday. Yeah, man. Nobody fights in El Clasico matches like Gabi does. And I don't mean like physically, but his intensity, his competitiveness, his desire to win, his hunger to win. No, I think Rafinha is probably the only one who brings as much as intensity. Maybe Fermin too, to be fair to him. But yeah, we definitely are going to miss our lion in that midfield. Anyways, let's get back to the news because now I do have to break the bad news to you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Don't shoot the messenger. But the bad news is that, ladies and gentlemen, the Camp Nou has been delayed once again. Now, as you know by now, Barcelona have the 1A and 1B licenses, which allows them to have people in the both lateral stands plus the south goal. However, the north goal, which will be the license 1C, Barcelona still don't have that. So right now, the Camp Nou is only at 45,000 people capacity. Barcelona submitted all the paperwork to the city in order to get the 1C license, which would allow them to use the goal north and extend the capacity of the stadium from 45 to 62,000. And now that has been delayed. Why? Because the city have requested from Barcelona more paperwork in regards to how they're going to rearrange the infrastructure. Now, what do I mean by that? Of course, the Camp Nou is a construction site. It's going to continue to be a construction site until the end of 2027. That's when the stadium will be fully done. They're expecting that we're going to have full capacity next season, but the roof is not going to be done until the end of 2027. So we're talking about 2 more years of the Camp Nou being a construction site. And construction sites, there's machinery, tools, construction material, cranes, you name it. And during match day, you have to move all that away. You have to move it away and store it or, put it in certain sections in order to allow people to access to go in and out. Plus, you also have to have, emergency routes. If, God forbid, something happens at the stadium, there's a fire, there's an attack, something, so people can exit. So the city want more information, have requested more documentation about how Barcelona are going to rearrange that infrastructure to allow for people to access the north goal. Because, of course, right now, everything is arranged for people to access both lateral stands and south goal, but not the north goal. So they want to see more information about how you're going to arrange it. Plus, now Barcelona will have less space to arrange things because technically since the goal north is not open, technically you could just move everything there when there's match day and then bring it out. Now you can't do that once you have that section open because now the entire stadium is open. So you're going to have to be a little bit more strategic about where you place all the construction material and machinery. So the city have requested more paperwork from Barcelona on how they're going to rearrange their infrastructure on match days. So this will delay the license, which means will delay Barcelona's return to the Camp Nou. Now, Barcelona, we're hoping to return to the Camp Nou by the end of this month for the first home match of 2026 against, what was it, Real Oviedo, if I'm not mistaken. And there was also the Champions League match against FC Copenhagen. But unfortunately, we're not return to the Camp Nou. We're already back at the Camp Nou. Return to the North Goal for those two matches. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. They're saying now that North Goal will be reopened mid to end of February. So what does that look like? Well, don't worry. Let's look at it. What does that look like? Now, these, of course, are all away matches. Spanish Super Cup and Saudi. Racing de Santander at their stadium. Real Sociedad at their stadium. Slavia Praga at the stadium. And this, January 25th, is when Barcelona were hoping to reopen the North Goal, which was Barcelona against Real Oviedo, and then, of course, play the Champions League with a 62,000 people capacity against FC Copenhagen. That's not going to happen. These two matches will be played with just 45,000 people capacity. Now, this is an away match. Mallorca, unlikely. Girona is an away match. And here we're talking about what's more realistic. Either Barcelona versus Levante, the weekend of the 22nd, maybe Barcelona versus Villarreal for March 1st. So this is when Barcelona expect that they will receive the 1C license, which is when they will reopen the North Goal and they will have a 62,000 people capacity. Now, of course, this is bad news because, having 62,000 people at the stadium versus 45 means a lot more money. Also, much better environment, right? You have 62,000 people supporting the team as opposed to 45. So it is bad news from the financial side and, of course, from the, I guess the atmosphere side, if you want to put it that way. But the silver lining, we are at our stadium. So, yes, it sucks that we're going to have to go probably another month like that. But at least we're at a stadium, and this is not a delay in completely returning to the stadium where we have to stay at Olympic Stadium or whatever it might be. So, bad news, but the wait continues. Anyways, let's get back to the comment section, and then we will talk about the Tottenham Hotspur defender who all of you like. Well, at least a lot of you like, because I've seen a lot of comments about it. But we'll talk about him in a little bit. Let's do more comments, and let's see, where did we leave off? Justice Boyo says, hello, Mo. Justice Boyo from the Gambia. I can't wait to see the boys playing with full intensity and trash Real Madrid on Sunday and secure our first trophy of the season. Me either, my friend. I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to the match. I definitely am. I think we have a really good shot of not just winning, but of, exacting some revenge and putting Madrid back in their place, because after they beat us in La Liga, for some reason, they thought that they were actually doing well. They weren't. We were doing terribly. That's why they won. So hopefully Sunday we can remind them of that we're a much more superior team and that they are an absolute mess. Let's see. P4K Chema says Van de Ven is one of the best options. BVB wanted 50 to 55 million for Schlotterbeck, and Van de Ven is currently valued around the same. We'll talk about Van de Ven in a little bit. The Jeff says Van de Ven is exactly who I've wanted. He's extremely fast and can defend. He'll be an asset when the high line fails. I can tell you he's almost as fast as Mbappe. Let's see. And Dorian says, hey, Mo, can't wait for the Super Cup. Hopefully Barcelona wins so we can keep our momentum going. And then Romain says, Mo, where can I find the Twitter or X link? All the links for all the pages are in the home tab. And I'll show you where to make it easy, my friend. Let's see. Let me share my screen. This is the home page of the channel, right? I'll even zoom in because this spy looks very small. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. If you see here, it says Barca News, subscribers, how many videos, blah, 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 description. And here it says 4 more links. Voila. You click on that, and this box is going to pop up. There's a short description of what the channel's about. Here's the kit bag link, the TikTok link, which I haven't uploaded anything on TikTok in years. Instagram channel, the Twitter channel, Fanatics. And then, yeah, that's, wow, I've made 2,051 videos. That's crazy, man. Anyways, so yeah, that's where you find it. In the home tab, that's where you find probably the links for any channel. That's where people usually put them. So if you're looking for links for another channel that you watch, that you follow, and you want to know what their social media accounts are, that's where you will find them, my friend. Hope that helps. Let's see. Where else? Van Lee says, Mo, I predict 3 signings this summer. Winger, striker, defender. 2 cheap and 1 expensive. With Rashford staying as a cheap winger, will defender or striker be cheap or expensive? Well, if we're going to get the defender that we're going to talk about next, that would be expensive. Striker, we'll see. We'll see. They're saying Vlahovic, the most likely option, given that he will be a free agent. And then winger, it's looking like going to be Rashford. So as of today, things, of course, can change dramatically because it's only January. The market doesn't open till June, late June. And then we have a World Cup. So there's probably not going to be a lot of signings when the market first open because, of course, the players are going to be focused on the World Cup. So players are probably not going to start moving around until the World Cup is over. But as of now, looks like Rashford for the left wing, Vlahovic for the center forward. Center back, there's still a question mark because there's still a lot of people on the list. But we're going to talk about one of those names in a little bit. Let's see. Bala Chandru says, what do you think about Rooney's link to Liverpool for 50 mil? I haven't heard anything about Liverpool being interested in Rooney Bardaghji, but I mean, I don't blame them because why wouldn't they be interested in Rooney Bardaghji? But if they do make an offer of 50 mil, I think the club would leave it up to the player if he wants to leave. Because as much as I like Rooney and as much as I would like Rooney to stay, given the financial situation of the club, that's not an offer they would be able to reject. Because you're talking about a player that cost you 2 million and someone comes and offers you 50. I mean, that's a very good financial deal. Now, would I want that deal to go through? Absolutely not. But at the same time, I wouldn't blame the club for considering it. That doesn't mean, of course, that the player would leave anyway, because the club says, this is interesting. Hey, Rooney, you want to go? He still can't say, no, I want to stay. And then the whole thing is doesn't matter. But, yeah. Raz, what's up, my man? I haven't seen you in so long. I'm glad to see you back in the chat section. But Raz says, hi, Mo, long time. Hope you are well, my friend. I was in Holland for the holidays. Cold. Van de Ven is a great signing. Hop, Holland, hop. Wow, Holland. All right, let's go. I hope you had a great time, my friend. I hope you had a great holidays. Happy New Year to you, my friend, and Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. But I'm glad that you got to, go away, go on a vacation, visit a country. That's always good for the soul and for the spirit and for the mind and for the body. Well, maybe not the body. I feel like I always get exhausted when I travel, but for the mind and the spirit, for sure. But good to see you back, my friend. And with that great note, let's get back to the news because reports today stating that Barcelona have now added to their list a name that many of you have been asking for, which is no other than Micky Van de Ven. I love Dutch names. They're always like Van, Vin, Bang. There's always V's in there. But Micky Van de Ven, a 24-year-old center back currently plowing his trade at Tottenham Hotspur, is a name that now Barcelona are seriously considering to sign during the summer transfer market in order to reinforce that defensive line and in order to replace the departure, of course, of our beloved captain without an armband, Íñigo Martínez. Now, as you know, Barcelona have several names on the list. Their favorite option, their number one option is, of course, Bastoni. But as we know, that's not a realistic option. For starters, Inter Milan not interested in selling him. They're not really a selling club. When they get a player that they like, they keep. Second of all, the player doesn't want to leave. He's happy at Inter Milan. And third, if Inter Milan were to let go of Bastoni and if Bastoni were to consider leaving, Inter Milan would want at least 85 million euros, which of course puts Bastoni out of range for Barcelona. Now, there's other names that have been talked about. Bardaghji, even that's not really a name that Barcelona likes a lot. It's just someone they consider because it's a free agent, but it looks like he's going to be going in Liverpool. Of course, Schlotterbeck, who we talked about, he looks like he wants to go to Real Madrid. We talked about Gonzalo Inacio. He's going to renew with Sporting if he didn't renew already. I don't know. I don't care about the Portuguese league. And now, the newest name to be added to Barca's list, someone that Barcelona are seriously considering, is Micky Van de Ven. Now, Micky Van de Ven is looking to leave in the summer, which of course, that's great because if not, then what's the point of talking about wanting him if he doesn't even want to leave? But Micky Van de Ven is now serious about leaving Tottenham because he considers or he feels that his cycle at Tottenham, it has come to an end and he's looking to take a step forward in his career to go to a bigger club and compete for important trophies. And there's even reports in England saying that he would like to come to Barcelona because after all, his idol is no other than the idol of many of us, Carles Puyol. Now, Micky Van de Ven, I think, would fit like an absolute glove in Barcelona because not only is he comfortable playing as a left center back, he can also play as a left back, by the way, which could be good competition or someone to alternate with Balde. But not only does he feel comfortable playing as a left center back, but he's also good with ball distribution. He's fast, like someone noted a few moments ago. And of course, he's young. He's 24 years old. So if he signs for Barcelona, well, we got another center back for a very long time, kind of like Pau Cubarsí, who's only 18, or I think he's 19 now, years old. So, Micky Van de Ven on the list of Barcelona. Barcelona seriously considering signing him in the summer. But of course, it's going to be tough. By no means this will be an easy operation. This is not going to be Joao Cancelo offering himself and, making everything in his power to make this move happen. This is going to be very tough because, as we know, Tottenham Hotspur are very, very tough negotiators. Now, Micky Van de Ven has a market value of 65 million euros. So expect Tottenham Hotspur to want something close to that, whether a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but something around close to that because they are very, very tough negotiators. So it's not an easy task, but nonetheless, Barcelona looking to undertake that task. Now, what's the positive out of all this? Is that Tottenham Hotspur are usually not a team that likes to reinforce other Premier League teams. So that's good because, of course, Micky Van de Ven is wanted by, half of the world. So that obviously gives Barcelona a leg up because, I don't know if you know this, but we're not in the Premier League. But anyways, Micky Van de Ven, let me know you guys' thoughts. I think this will be an absolute slam dunk of a signing. I know a lot of you agree with that. But for the rest of you who have not expressed your opinions, let me know in the chat section or in the comment section on what do you think about Micky Van de Ven. Do you want to see him at Barca? Do you not? Do you hate him? Do you think he sucks? Do you think he's great? Let me know. I want to hear what you guys have to say. All right, let's get back to the chat section, the comment section, chat section. I don't know what it's called. It's chat section, right? Yeah, and then we'll talk about another defender. This one already at Barcelona. All right, let's see. Gilbert says, Real Madrid is our customer on Sunday. Amen, my friend. Amen. And Jedi says, is this a podcast? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Welcome, welcome. Spooky says, how does someone like Deco end up as sporting director for one of the biggest clubs in the world? Easy. He's a friend of Laporta. And as we've seen, Laporta likes to fill up the club with his friends. We've seen many of them, including friends who have no official positions, but they make decisions at the club. I don't know. Jamrock says, good night. Much love and respect to all FC Barcelona faithful. Thank you, my friend. Welcome to the chat section. And David says, hey, Mo, sorry to be that guy, but condolences for what's going on in your country. Thank you, my friend. It's definitely a very dark times here in the U.S. with everything that's happening. So thank you. I appreciate it. Cora says, hopefully Barca will retain trophy. What do you think? Sad, can't watch game as I'm traveling back to Europe. No, my friend, move your flight. I'm kidding. Don't do that. That's very expensive. Yes, I hope so too, my friend. I hope so. I hope that on Sunday we'll come out, kick some ass, win that trophy, and remind Madrid that they are forever. Bitch. Ooh, I just got my channel censored. Lifestyle Hack says, hey Mo, if Barcelona press Madrid from the start of the game, then they can beat them. Madrid only show up in the first few minutes of the game. 100%. I've noticed that. It used to be the opposite, right? When the last 10, 20 minutes is when Madrid were the most lethal, right? That's when they would always mount their comebacks. And then this season, it's been the opposite. Like, they start out strong and then, well, strong, relatively speaking, of course, because they're absolute garbage. But they start out strong, and then as the minutes go by, they just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And then towards the last 20 minutes, they're just like barely walking around, like wasting time, begging the ref to blow the whistle. I mean, even against Atletico Madrid in the semifinal, they were like that. So I have noticed that, my friend. Screamer says we need to sign Nusa so he can play secret agent in international duty with Erling. He's also a great replacement for Coutinho as he gets old enough to move to Saudi. Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter who we could sign Haaland's father and mother, and we still cannot afford them. So let's see. Van Lee says Van de Ven did an interview with Gary Neville. Asked who's his favorite player. He said Puyol, amazing stuff. Exactly, my friend. He does. His idol is Carlos Puyol. And Sean says, good night, Moy. Probably go for Marmoush. He's not getting much playing time, and Man City just signed another attacker today. I would have loved to have Marmoush, even though he's not really a pure center forward. But I would have loved to have Marmoush. But I can't see. How much did City pay for him? I forgot. Let's see. Because Omar Marmoush. Let's see. How much did City pay for him? City paid. Where is it? 75 million euros. And this was last summer. So, yeah, they're not going to sell him to us for anything less than that. They're going to look to recover their full investment and then some. So I don't think it would be in the cards for us. But I thought he would have been a great option for us. Al-Hajj Bieber says, good morning, Mo. My name is Al-Hajj Bieber. Says, say I'm from Sierra Leone. How to become a member of the Mochas. Pretty easy, my friend. I'm going to show you since I already showed everyone how to find the links. All right. There's the homepage again. If you go, see how there's a tab here says membership. Wait, do you see that tab, or am I the only one who sees that tab? Because that's my own channel. Hold on. Now I gotta look. Let's see view. Where am I? Let me look for my channel from my other YouTube account, my private YouTube account. Barca News. Why don't I follow myself? All right, here you go. Found it. Visit channel. Okay. So maybe this will help. Come on, focus. Why doesn't it want to focus? Hold on, there we go. All right. See right there, there's subscribe. Where's my finger? And then next to it, it says join. If you click on that join button, it's right here, right? Remember, that's the home page on my cell phone. That's to subscribe. This is to join and become a channel member. I hope that helped. But yeah, you're not going to see this membership tab right here. Oh, wait. Did you even see any of that since I have my share screen? Maybe I should do it this way. Sorry about that. There you go. That's better. All right, here we go. Wow, my screen is very dirty. I need to clean it. But there's subscribed, and then there is join. If you click on that join button, that's how you become a member. So yeah, I need to clean my screen. So like fingers. Anyways, let's do the next comment. Bam, bam, bam. I feel like I'm a guide channel, one of those step by step. This is how you do this, which I use a lot, by the way. Thank God for YouTube. I've learned to do so many things to YouTube. Samir says Van de Ven would be perfect for Barca. Left-footed, absolute physical beast, being the fastest player in the Premier League, great in the air and not bad with the feet either. Super expensive though. I mean, the good players are, my friend. The good players are. But yes, I agree. I think it will be a total slam dunk of a signing. And Ragnar says, Mo, I think Frankie should be on the bench. Play Eric instead. Frankie's just passing backwards and to the side, never make progress pass or shot on goal. Don't get me wrong. I do like Eric Garcia in the place of Frankie. I like Eric with Pedri better together than I do Frankie and Pedri. But we'll see. We'll see because, you know, the reason why Frankie ended up playing is because I guess Hansi Flick felt more comfortable with Eric as a center back than Gerard. So I'm guessing that's why. So we're going to have to wait and see if he's going to repeat that, if he's going to feel more comfortable with Eric in a center back. And if that's the case, obviously we're going to see Frankie de Jong play again. Let's see. Zanamcom says Brooklyn in the house. BK, let's go. Let's see. Roy David says, I don't think we have the money for him. He's a great player. It's all going to depend on how much Tottenham would want. If they want maybe, I think we could probably afford something up to 60 mil. You know, after all, that's what we were willing to pay for Nico last summer. That's what we ended up paying for Olmo the summer before that. So I think the 60 million mark is kind of like what Barcelona is comfortable with. But if they want more, we'll also see how much it plays the fact that the player wants to leave, right? We've seen that works. When players pressure their clubs and say, hey, I want to leave, I want to go to this club. Usually clubs are left with no option. They're like, fuck, we have 10 options, and sure, the other 9 options are offering us a lot more money, but this asshole only wants to go to this one. So, you know, it happened with Rafinha, it happened with Kunde, it happened with Lewy, you know, all these players who insisted on Barca and Barca only. So their clubs of origin were like, I guess Barca it is then. There's not much we can do. Ross says, get rid of Araujo for VDV. Also, what do you think about Greenwood for the middle forward? Greenwood is someone that Barcelona considered, but I don't think it'd be financially feasible. Not because he's too expensive, but he's expensive for what Barcelona consider him to be, because he's not really a pure 9. So that's the thing. But yeah, Araujo, dude, I would sell Araujo in a heartbeat to sign Micky Van de Ven. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. If someone tells me, hey, Araujo or Van de Ven, I think the answer is clear, my friends. The answer is clear. And Lois says, wait, why didn't it click? There we go. Van de Ven will be a solid addition. Fits the profile for left-footed center back that could play left back where needed to. He has the pace and technical ability as well. 100% agree with you, my friend. Again, I think it would be an absolute slam dunk to bring Micky Van de Ven to Barcelona. All right, with that, let's move on to the next bit of news, because speaking of defenders, we do have to talk about another defender. This one is already at Barcelona, and it's no other than Andreas Christensen, the 29-year-old Danish defender who's currently injured. He, of course, has a partial tear in the ACL and therefore will be out for 4 months. His contract is set to expire in the summer of 2024. And the news is that Barcelona are already in talks with Christensen in order to extend his contract by 1 more year. Now, Christensen arrived in Barcelona in the summer of 2022 on a free transfer from Chelsea. He signed a 4-year contract from 2022 to 2026. And now Barcelona are working on extending it until 2027. Now, the reason for this is, of course, something I told you weeks ago when this was first announced, but now it's been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. Nice of you to catch up, Fabrizio Romano. I mentioned this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But the reason for this is that Laporta kind of wants to do like a nice gesture to Christensen, because since he is injured, he doesn't want him to have to think about his future while battling his injury. So he wants to give him a contract extension, you know, while he focuses on recovering from this partial ACL tear. Now, I'll say this, which I said last time. Have we lost our fucking minds? I think we have. You know, one time, for those of you who watch the channel on a regular basis, I can't remember if this was during a post-match live analysis or if it was during a watch-along, but I said, I don't understand what's a penalty and what's a handball anymore in La Liga, because referees are so bad. You can have the same exact play out 10 different times, and you could have 10 different results, because I don't even think the referees in La Liga understand what constitutes a handball or what constitutes a penalty. So at this point, I don't know anything about refereeing rules because I'm so confused about what the refs do in Spain. Well, I feel the same way about this board of directors. At this point, I don't understand anything. Okay? I don't understand how they think. I don't understand how they reason. I don't understand anything. Nothing. Why? Don't get me wrong. I like Christensen. I think he's a very, very solid defender. Whenever he's played, he's always given us great performances. I think he's a much better option than Ronald Araujo. And I think he is a great player. What's my problem with Christensen? The guy is always freaking injured. Is always freaking injured. Why are we renewing him for another year? He just got injured. He's going to be out for 4 months. He missed the entire first half of the season due to injury. He comes back, and now he's going to miss the second half of the season. And by the way, he missed the entire season, the entirety of last season. So what are we doing here? Again, I like him as a player, but if he cannot stay healthy, it doesn't matter how good he is. He could be Maldini and Puyol, together, but if you don't play, then what's the point? So I don't understand anything anymore with this board of director. I mean, what are we? A charity? Oh, he's injured, so I don't want him to worry about his future. Let's add another year, and that's another year of salary, 10 million or however much he earns. What? We're talking about we didn't have money to sign striker, but we have money to give away on a salary of a player that's injured. I don't understand anything. At this point, I've given up trying to understand anything, because when it comes to this board, it's absolute chaos. Chaos. I mean, Flick says, hey, I want a defender. And they're like, okay, we'll bring you a fullback. And the reason why he asked for a defender is because Christensen got injured. And what do? They're like, don't worry. We're going to renew the injured center back that you cannot use because he's injured. And we're not going to bring you a center back. We're going to bring you a fullback. Make it make sense, please. If anyone can make it make sense, I would appreciate it. Now, in case you think I'm exaggerating as far as injuries, I'm not. Let's look at the transfer market profile of Andreas Christensen. Now, I did this beforehand. I selected all seasons, only Barcelona, all competitions. And let's scroll. So here we have a Copa del Rey, La Liga, Champions League, of Europa, Super Cup. All the competition is played in since he joined in Barcelona. Now, let's look. Here's La Liga. We'll go back to the Champions League in a little bit. Here's La Liga since he arrived. Okay? This is every single match that's been played by Barca in La Liga. And if you scroll all the way down, it tells you right here. Sorry, I scrolled too much. That since Christensen arrived, Barcelona have played 90 La Liga matches, in which 43 of them he was injured. That's half. He has missed half of all La Liga matches since he arrived due to injury. That's insane. That means it's a 4-year contract. It's like he only played 2 and he was injured for 2. Now, let's scroll up. Let's look at the Champions League. Since arriving in Barcelona, the club has played 21 Champions League matches. 14 of them, he was injured. That's crazy. That's more than half. He has missed more than half of all the Champions League matches. He did play in both Europa. No, he was, but it's Europa. Who cares? We played 2 matches. All right, so that's La Liga. That's the Champions League. Let's look at Copa del Rey. 9 matches played by Barça in the Copa del Rey. 6 of them, he was injured. 2/3. 2/3. Spanish Super Cup, 4 Spanish Super Cup matches since he arrived. 3 of them, he was injured. That's 3/4. That's crazy. We talk about how Olmo's always injured. This guy makes almost look like the most healthy guy in the world. I mean, this is crazy. And our response to that is, hey, you want to stay another year? Otherwise, the infirmary will feel empty without you. I don't understand anything. Like I said before. So if someone can explain it, please let me know. Anyways, that's all the news. Let's do some comments and then we will end the live. Let's see. Samir says, but the Araujo for Xavi's season who put Vinny completely in his pocket and switched with Kunde when Kunde was struggling with some physical strikers. That Araujo is very much like VDV. No, because the thing about Araujo is he's a very physical defender. Like, he's very gifted in that way. Tall, strong, super fast. But he's not gifted in a technical aspect. And I feel like VDV is a little bit more technical than him. Let's see. Milijan says, in striker, I would like to see someone like Walter Maid, pure number 9, physical 6'4", but moves like 5'10". I know Barcelona consider him briefly. I don't know if he's still on the list. I haven't heard anything about him. But I know Barcelona considered him last summer. I think it's because he signed. Who did he end up signing for? Let me see. And they paid a crap load of money, so he's definitely not a option anymore. Let's see. I forgot who he signed for. Nick. Oh, Newcastle. He signed for Newcastle. So he was on Barcelona's list, and then Newcastle went out and shelled out $75 million for him to sign him from Stuttgart. So that pretty much is done, right? It's a closed chapter. There's no way we would sign him because Newcastle, you best believe they're going to want around, well, not around, probably more than the $75 million that they paid. So that automatically completely puts him out of budget for us. Let's see. Ross says, Mo, how do I use the internet? You disconnect your phone, your landline, you plug it into the back of your computer, and then you want to wait for that sound, the connected sound. Once that sound stops, you know that you're connected. Enjoy, my friend. Che Boy says, I say sell FDJ, Araujo, and Torres with the money. We can put in 20-way parlay and pay off the debt to pay Haaland. Hey, I'm all for it. But I just don't see Frankie leaving after they renewed his contract. I mean, the guy didn't want to leave when his contract was about to expire. He was kind of like, I'm staying and nobody's moving me until my contract expires. And Barcelona was like, all right, well, let's extend it then. Ferran, same thing. He's not leaving. I mean, this guy, when he wasn't getting a single minute and when he was completely sucking, he wouldn't want to leave. He's definitely not leaving now when he's actually getting to start under Hansi Flick. So I just don't see it. Araujo will see, but yeah, Araujo just got a contract until 2031. Why would he want to leave? And that's the thing, right? That's the thing about our Deco and our sporting department. They don't think. They don't plan ahead. They just hand out contracts. They were afraid because, Araujo's about to leave to Juventus. What are we going to do? We're only going to have 3 defenders, Kouarsi, Christensen, and Iñigo. So let's rush and, in act of desperation, give him a contract until 2031. And now we're like, oh, shit, what did we do? Because these motherfuckers don't think, man. They don't think. They don't plan ahead. They don't think. They just rush to act, and then we're stuck holding a bag of shit. Like right now. Oh, hey, let's renew Christensen. What? The guy can't even stay healthy. What do you mean? But anyways, what do I know? Let's see. Java says it's always the thing with Deco. He makes 1 good signing and 2 bad signings. The board forgot that Cancelo was part of the reason we lost against PSG 2024 with that idiotic tackle on Mbappe. Look, man, you know my thoughts about Cancelo. And then people started to have meltdowns in the comment section. Cancelo's the best. Cancelo succeeded at Bad City. They started arguing about how much of a success he was. I was like, all right, fuck it. let's say he was the best Man City player. He was so good. That's why Pep Guardiola wanted to get rid of him, because he figured, hey, he's so good, I can't handle his goodness. But yeah, let's assume he was an amazing, amazing player at Man City. How about at Barca? Did you motherfuckers forgot he played at Barca? Like, people arguing about, oh, well, at City, he was actually good. Oh, at Al Hilal, it's because Inzaghi lines a lot. How about fucking Barca? Did you guys forget he was actually at Barca? Like, people have amnesia or something? Anyways, but yeah, I agree. It's very frustrating, by the way, sometimes to read some of the comments and you're like, my goodness, gotta help us. I really fear for our future generations. Jedi Master says, hey, Mo, this is unrelated, but please take care of yourself and get some rest. You look tired, my friend. I'll see you next time. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. I'm actually very, very tired. I cannot wait to go to bed tonight. I'm exhausted. I haven't been sleeping too much with work and everything else, but I'm definitely going to bed early today. Tomorrow I have to wake up to do the MoCast. So I got to wake up. I gotta go to sleep early because I gotta be well rested for the MoCast. Not that the MoCast is that early; it's at noon, but still, I don't know. I have to be well rested for it. Let's see. Chain Boy says, Mo, what do you think about the Swole Gotinha meme? Which Swole Gotinha meme? Let's see. Let's look it up. I'm very intrigued now. Very intrigued. Swole Gotinha. Oh, wait. I should probably say Rafinha, because I don't think the rest of the world calls him. I don't see anything. Maybe send it to me on the Instagram page. I would love to see it. David says, yes, Bardaghji has been so many years and not improved ever. This moved on me. David says, Christensen has to go. Also, too old and doesn't help us for real titles. He did help us win that La Liga under Xavi, so I don't want to take away that away from him. I mean, again, I think he's a great player, but if you can't stay healthy, it doesn't matter how great you are. I mean, you could be freaking Messi, and if you can't, if you can't stay healthy, then it doesn't matter if you're Messi or not, because you're gonna be on a bench, on an infirmary the entire time. Sean says, I have given up. It looks like Barca have money to waste by signing Cancelo. Thankfully, it's not going to be that expensive signing since it's a loan. There's no loan fee. So the only money we're going to have to pay is Cancelo's salary, which is not the full salary because, of course, it's only half a season. So it's not complete waste, but not ideal since what Flick wanted was a center back, and instead they brought him a fullback that doesn't defend. Ross says, dude, Greenwood been ripping it up in league. Also give Araujo to Spurs plus 3 stadium seats for VDV. Also let us know what you think of Igor over at Brentford EPL second top scorer whenever. Thanks, Bo. Yeah, man, I wish. Could you imagine? I would love if Tottenham were like, you know what? Because Araujo, I think Araujo would do great in the Premier League. That's the kind of defender that usually thrives in the Premier. The tall, strong, physical, fast defender, which is Araujo. I would love if Tottenham were like, all right, you want VDV, give us Araujo. In a heartbeat. But of course, Araujo would have to want to leave. And I don't know if Araujo would want to go to Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, you don't trade Barca for Tottenham. It's the other way around. Arnold says, does club still do swap deals? If yes, we should swap Araujo. Okay, yeah, that's what I mentioned. They do, but of course, the clubs have to want to, and of course, the player has to want to. Let's see. Chain Boy says, I don't think Greenwood would fit in this locker room and can see him in Madrid and Asensio. You're wrong for that one, my friend. You're wrong for that one. And Ray with the generous donation says, hey, Mo, been a fan for a while now. I love your channel, especially the game analysis and legal analysis. The legal take reminds me of Joe Pesci, my cousin Vinny, or my cousin Mo. You know what? That's actually a movie I have not seen. And everybody tells me, bro, how haven't you seen it? You're a lawyer. It's like it's a lawyer movie. You have to watch it. And Pesci is a great actor, but I haven't seen it. It's definitely on the list. I've seen like some scenes, obviously, here on reels and stuff that have been remixed, and it looks absolutely hilarious. But I do want to see it. But anyways, my friend, thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you for the donation. It really means a lot. And I'm definitely going to watch that movie. I think it's a must. Let's see. Where did we leave off? AK Tino says, is his agent Jorge Mendes too? Who? If we're talking about Cancelo, the answer is yes. If it's someone else, then if you can clarify, I will let you know. Let's see. Zimo says, Eli Jr., Kuropi would be a good signing for Barca. Isn't that someone that we looked up the other day? Or no? I fucking hate this. I hate Apple products. There you go. Eli Jr. Kuropi. Yeah. Talked about Kuropi, didn't we? Bournemouth. Center forward, 19. Here's the thing. A club as big as Barca cannot afford to bring a 19-year-old to be the starting center forward. We need someone who's made, who can hit the ground running, given that it's such a sensitive position, which I talked about why it's sensitive. I don't want to be repetitive. Abdullah says, Fabrizio states there's a possibility that Marc Bernal to go on loan somewhere else and get some minutes. Yeah, they're saying probably maybe Girona, that it's going to be completely up to the player. I think it would be a mistake, even though he would get more minutes at Girona. I'm sure he would start and play 90 minutes of every match. My concern would be Girona are not going to take care of him as well as we are, right? Because we know what the player's been through. We have the doctors that did the surgeries. We have the doctors that have been keeping up with his progress, the physios, the physical traders. We have all those that have been there since day one, they have come up with a plan on how to bring back Bernal to full fitness and have been following that plan. Not to say that Girona are going to be reckless and the first day they're going to make him, jump from a third floor into a pool, but I'm saying they're not going to be on it as well as we will, right? So I think it would be a mistake for that reason and that reason alone. If he hadn't gotten through what he went through with the surgery and all that, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. Let him go, play, develop, grow, and then he can come back better and stronger. But because he went through the surgery and the recovery, I think it would be a mistake. Barca Mama says, ready for the Mocast? No! I wish, but I can't talk for that long. It's exhausting. Chain Boy says, it's all over Twitter. Twitter. Okay, let me look at Twitter. Swole Rafinha. Let's see. Swole Rafinha. Oh my God. That is so ugly. No, who did this? That is terrible. Oh my God. That's hilarious. For every like on this post, I'll make Rafinha's biceps 1 centimeter longer. That is freaking hilarious. I gotta show you guys this. It's actually kind of nasty, but it's hilarious. Let's see. Swole Rafinha right here. That is disgusting. But it's hilarious. Look at his face. His face looks like the muscles of his face right into his arms. It's like his face is so skinny, but he has this huge ass. Can you imagine how hard it would be to? Well, actually, you probably wouldn't be able to wipe your butt with arms this big. But that's hilarious. Thank you, my friend, for for telling me about Swole Rafinha. Let's see. Messi Super Ballon d'Or says, I'm happy for Bardaghji. More minutes for him. Amen, my friend. More minutes for Bardaghji. Justice for Bardaghji. Hashtag. Anyways, that is all, my friends. My Barca News family. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, your donations. I will see you guys tomorrow for channel members. I will see you tomorrow in the Mocast for non-members and members. I will see you guys in the videos. And of course, Sunday, we have the final. Anyways, thank you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Viscarsa.